Yeah, as I was saying, like our basic setting is to feel pleasure. And it's not to say that we should not challenge ourselves, because definitely like challenging ourselves is really important, and pushing ourselves. And I think, getting the balance right, if we want to come out of the comfort zone, but we don't want to go like too much out of the comfort zone so that our nervous system like unbalances too much. But pleasure is like always there as a healing force in so many different ways. But because I think this society is sort of like, banning pleasure in a way, or it's so negative towards pleasure, what's happening is that people are then chasing pleasure, but they're not really being able to experience it because they're not able to sit in it. So as a result, people are getting like really, really burned out and overstimulated so that they don't really feel anything anymore. And
It's
I'm
going round and round and round of trying harder, and then yeah.
Yeah, and I was absolutely there once. When I was younger, I just didn't know anything about sensitivity. I was so not in my body, like I needed like so much stimulation to just feel anything at all. And the more I've learned to like tune into my body and tune into energy, like if you look at tantric sex, all that might happen is that the penis goes in the vagina and there's no movement. But because you're so sensitive to energy and actually able to, summon and work with the energy, you actually get like so much more out of it, actually, like in terms of even like full body orgasms, and just way much more pleasure when you learn to tune into the energy and actually experience it. And the thing is, we're always being drawn towards pleasure, you know but there's a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way to do, just like there's a healthy way to go with pain and an unhealthy way to go with pain as well. And it's all about our awareness. I think also the breath, being in the present, and so on. So welcome everybody who's arrived and just still arriving as well. Lovely to have you all on board. Hey, I'm curious, what countries are we representing? Could you just put in the chat your city, your country? Just great to always see where everybody is, so that we're going to do an exercise together. And I find this exercise really, really powerful. And I wasn't gonna stream into Cambridge, UK. What a lovely city. I wasn't going to stream it onto Facebook. Houston, Texas. Mesa, Arizona. Netherlands. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't going to stream it onto Facebook. Should I stream it onto Facebook? What were we saying? Anyone got a problem with that? Okay, let's do it. Obviously, you guys get more out of being here than you will get out of being on Facebook, and I'll cut Facebook off at some point. But yeah. Anyone else? Anywhere? Any other cities? Let's see if this is going to let me go into Facebook or not. Oh. Is it going to be too much drama? So I'm just curious to know, like, what are people looking for here? What are people hoping to get out of today?
Connection.
Anyone? Preconceptions? Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and I think connection is really something that we all crave. And connection starts with ourselves as
Yeah,
well.
that's how I meant it. Connection to self. Out of that will flow the rest of my life. And this is why I quit putting demands on God, so to speak, like I want this and I want that. I'm not against wanting this and want that. It's just that my priority is shifted away from the things that I want to, I want connection to myself. And that way I'll have a better grip on those things that I want. They may change as I connect deeper to myself. I may not care about some of the things that I think I want now.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. And this is all about, because most people, they think that orgasm, it's about this porn they're watching, or this vibrator they bought, or this new hunky sexy lover, or whatever it is. And people are always looking outside for the stimulation. But when we actually start to look within, we realize there's way, way more, you know, and then instead of chasing pleasure, we're just sitting there and letting it come to us. So Facebook's not working anyways.
You had mentioned, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go on, tell me.
Oh, I was just going to say, you'd mentioned something today in a post about some guy that had mentioned the intellectual side of, or the theoretical, well, I don't remember exactly, I'm paraphrasing, but about how we have in our head, you know, having that, the intellectual part of it down, you know, because so many of us, including myself, you know, it feels like I'm just chasing a better orgasm. And I'm not ashamed of that, but having read what you wrote kind of helped me put things into perspective. And it isn't really that I'm chasing. It's part of the entire picture. It will result in that, but really, bottom line, it is connection to my higher self that I want, which will bring all those other things. And for the longest time, at the beginning of this course, I felt guilty because, am I really serious about this? I'm just chasing better sex. And of course, I do want that. But that statement that you put down today helped me to put that into a more understandable perspective that doesn't really make me feel so guilty anymore for what I'm doing here.
Exactly. And the thing is, okay, I was talking about this the other day when I had this guy that is quite funny, you know, because he's one of the top tech entrepreneurs in the UK. And he just came to me and said, oh, I want to have prostate orgasms. I said, well, I chatted to him for about 15 minutes. I said, okay, I can teach you, but you're going to have to follow these instructions. So I told him, you know, what's the price for the VIP coaching? He's paid it all up front, just then and there, probably within like about 40 minutes of us first talking, you know. And all he's saying is, I want a prostate orgasm. I want to have them regularly. And he was willing to pay a good amount of money for it. And I started working, you know, with him. And within a couple of weeks, he was like saying like, wow, Jade, this is just amazing. What I'm feeling is incredible. And I knew he was kind of like on the high, and the high is cool, but the low and the grounding is really important. And I think this is what I was also talking about, how we need to have a grounding of our practices, and we need to have like a real connection into ourselves, our belly, Mother Earth, and so on. Because when you look at all of these various sort of like tantra retreats, tantra groups, tantra this and that, most of them, there's like varying degrees of like ickiness and weirdness about it, you know, some very, very extreme, others, you know, a bit less, some it's just kind of like a bit like, what am I learning exactly, really, in the end, you know. But when we're like really grounded into the practice and we're really experiencing it in the body, and we're not just kind of like spiritual bypassing into these highs, that's when we really, really get the benefits. Anyways, not to say the guy wasn't getting benefits, because he had launched this new company, which was like a massive, massive venture. And in the time we were working together, it went from being like really like teetering on the brink of collapsing to like really taking off now. But about maybe like 5-6 months later, he contacted me and he was just like, Jade, I am in love. Yeah. Like he says, I mean, I thought I'd been in love before, but this is like 100 times more than I ever imagined possible. And I was like, yeah, because this stuff opens our hearts, you know. And when we're really doing all the different layers of working with the energy, instead of just going, oh, I want to, you know, hope that if I masturbate really hard and squeeze my perineum, I'm going to start having full body orgasms, without actually looking at the whole side to do with our emotions, our consciousness, our way of dealing with things and everything, you know. The benefits we get just spread through like every part of our life, and they are so incredible. Anyways, let me get started with this PowerPoint, because I've got a big PowerPoint. I don't want to go on too late, more than 2 hours at least. So here I am, and okay, slideshow, right? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Oh, sorry. I've got to just get out of here for a second and just pin, or can, oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is just me. Okay, so you don't see everybody there. Okay, fantastic. Right. So, orgasmic consciousness, what the title, I think I used about 4 or 5 different titles for what this would be, but you get the gist of what I'm talking about. And orgasmic energy is the most powerful form of healing, creative, and spiritual energy, but it may not be what you think it is, because when you start looking at ancient esoteric traditions like Taoism, Tantra, and so on, and what you actually start seeing is orgasm, you start realizing this is almost like a basic vibration that we're vibrating at, you know, not just us, but the whole universe is vibrating at when it's in harmony. And it's like the vibration that brings everything into equilibrium. And actually, when we're really working with orgasmic energy and really using it in our body, it's almost like it's creating this vibration within our bodies as well that is basically just healing our whole body at the cellular level. Is really incredible what you can actually start doing with it. And that's actually just one of the most basic parts of it. So this is just a picture of some people doing Taoist sexual practices where they're transmuting sexual energy together. So just sitting together as if they're almost a battery of negative and positive and just increasing the energy together. So superfood for body and soul. This powerful energy creates life. Once it's created us, we tend to try to forget about it and pretend it's superfluous. This is just because we don't understand it. So this is the narrative that's come from the church for many centuries in times of like repression of sexuality. But if we actually look at what message are we getting from sex positive, what message are we getting from porn, right? Even the media, what message are we getting from Hollywood? Even what message are we getting from a lot of Tantra, you know, is, oh, it's just this superfluous little way of having fun as if we're drinking a glass of brandy, when in reality, it is so deep that it goes into every cell of our being and is every part of who we are. So this shallow understanding of sexuality, it was pushed by both the old system and the new system, which is supposed to be sexually liberated. And it's like almost everything that we see is actually like putting us off, you know, from understanding what sexuality is about. And it's crazy because like diagnosis of asexuality, whatever that is, you know, it's just increasing and increasing. Less and less people are like wanting sex, less men are having sex, you know, women are having less orgasms as we're getting all this like really extreme stuff pushed onto us, which I feel like in a way we've got to disconnect from like part of ourselves to even be able to kind of enjoy it. So this is actually showing the 2 main energy center in sexuality in Taoism is the heart center and the sexual center. And for a healthy sexuality, we want 50% love and 50% sexuality. And we want them flowing together. So we want both open and flowing together. And that's how we get really fulfilling sex. And there's so many people, they're not getting fulfilled from sex. They're needing like really like rough overstimulation, or maybe they're just having so much stimulation but still not really finding they're getting what they want. And it's because this is not connected together. And the thing is that when we were taught in the past sexuality is dirty, obviously it cut off the love from the sexuality. And many people actually have the problem that they can love or they can feel sexuality, but they can't feel both, right? And then basically what does pornography do generally is it cuts off the love from the sexuality because it's just focusing on the one part and not the other. I would say that erotic movies would not do the same if it's a whole story showing, you know, all the emotions and the love and everything like that. But average pornography would be disconnecting the two, which will cause all kinds of havoc with the sexual energy system. So, right, moving on. So there's a whole science to orgasmic energy that goes way beyond what modern sexologists can imagine, even those who think they are so sex positive. Unless you look back at these ancient orgasmic secrets, you will not find the power of this energy, which goes way beyond amazing pleasure, orgasms, intimacy, connection, and love. And this is obviously what we think of as the basics, but it's very much more than that. And Taoism is the most precise way of understanding our sexual energy that exists on the planet. And just to say, this is for you if you're someone that is, let's say, a higher achiever, you like having discipline in your life, you want to go into a really deep, far experience with your sexuality. If you're more like, you know, maybe you don't have so much drive, you're not really that committed. This is a commitment when we take on this kind of a path, yeah. And I don't recommend people to try to mess around too much with techniques to have multiple orgasms without doing the basis of work that's the foundation for it. Okay. So I'm teaching this, mostly it's based on Taoism, some based on Tantra. I have studied and been certified as an instructor with the Taoist Grandmaster Mantak Chia. I'm also a certified Tantra educator. And I'm absolutely passionate about helping people to really understand what their sexuality is about and get them in touch with it. This is really like, you know, what gives me meaning in life on many levels. And I obviously, like, I have my clients that I work with, I have membership as well. I also have like many of my followers on social media. Some will just message me out of the blue and say, wow, you just changed my life. And I don't even know what I did, but it just feels amazing. In fact, I've been getting some beautiful messages today for some reason. But anyways, yeah, it's so meaningful. So here's me with Mantak. And so I just put a disclaimer here, which is these are really, really powerful energies. When I talk about certain practices, I don't recommend to just go off and try them on your own, because the practices need to be done in a certain order, in a certain way. And it's always best to have a teacher. I certainly learned it with the teacher. And this is what Mantak Chia always recommends as well. And everything I'm talking about here, this is all based on the work I do with my clients. So I definitely recommend, if you're interested to take it further, get in touch with me. My assistant can give you my number and basically my details for my Calendly if you want to book a consultation, a free 10-minute consultation as well. So you can put the link in there if you feel like this is something you're interested in following. Okay. Okay, this is just here as a couple of examples about what this can do. So one of my clients, who's an actor, he sent me a message just to let you know, my Chinese medicine doctor said I have the pulse and health of a professional athlete, and I attribute most of this to your course, right? Okay, and absolutely, when we do these practices, it's so powerful. Like, oh, this light went off. Can you still see me? I think you can. Okay, well, that's actually nice for my eyes. But I mean, even like yesterday, I sprained my ankle and I was like limping around a bit in the house. And then I had my group meeting yesterday and we were doing an exercise just to build the energy in our belly. And as we were doing it, I got this like crazy itching all around my ankle. And actually today it's basically better as well. So these are like really powerful to heal our body. But also, like, many of my clients are also finding out that through doing these practices, they have a big increase of like solar aligned abundance coming towards them. So this is one guy that actually I sent him a masterclass I did that was about how to use this stuff to manifest financial abundance. And he'd actually contacted me and said, oh, I want to work with you, but I don't have a job. So I was like, okay, cool, don't worry, but I'll give you some free resources, because I'm always giving people free resources. And the guy actually took it seriously and he went off. And like you said, he says, I've done the meditations, your masterclass you shared. Yesterday, I got a call from a long shot job and was offered a minimum salary of 60K a year. I took the initiative and asked to negotiate a higher salary, something I have never done before. They said they would call back later that day. They didn't. So today I decided to take another risk after listening to the replay of your live on abundance. I called them up and they made me an offer of 62K a year. This is going to be the most amount of money I've ever made at any job in my entire life. It will solve all of my money troubles and I'm currently facing, get me out of debt, and help me move towards my dream of owning my own home and tree farm later in life. Bonus is I get to help homeless people struggling with addiction. So he got his dream job as well, which was super cool. Thank you so much, Jade, for taking a chance on me and sharing your work. And then this guy, he became my client. He finished, I think, within like 1 or 2 months of working with me, they'd added another 7K onto his salary as well. He's recently got another job, even more pay, better job as well. And these are like way bigger than the jobs he ever had before. And I think even just one thing about it is when we start clearing energy drains out of our system, like how much more can we do and how much more are we capable of? Like, it's just incredible. You know, even when we get rid of like little niggling things that maybe we didn't think was such a biggie, but we're actually like just going through like coping instead of thriving. So let's have a look now at sexual energy, because sexual energy is the ultimate amplifier of everything. Okay, it's going to amplify the good, it's going to amplify the bad. Okay, by the way, I promise to be controversial here. I hope you guys don't get offended by anything I'm saying. Take it all with a pinch of salt, because I like being a little controversial, because it makes our brains work a little bit better. Okay, I'm more than happy to have anybody disagree with me, criticize, or discuss anything I'm saying. In fact, I appreciate that. So I'm not closed-minded. I'm always looking to learn. So if you know more than me, just let me know in the chat. Okay. So orgasm is your most powerful resource. Orgasmic energy is our creator energy, but it's so much more than that. Obviously, we're created, people say, out of an ejaculation. You don't necessarily need the ejaculation to make the baby. And having a cervical orgasm definitely helps suck the sperm up to where it needs to go. So it's the energy that creates us and has the power to heal our body at the cellular level. The ability to heal can extend to terminal illnesses, but this is really just about the basics of what you can do with it. So it basically can be used to start to reprogram the body at the cellular level. Once you've started to use the energy to heal your body at the cellular level, you can start to open up to deep levels of creativity, because you are increasing your energy dramatically, as well as removing energy drains and leaks. So there's basically 3 basic stages of it, and this is stage 1. So it's so important. The body is the vessel. We need to get the body into a good state. We need to get everything, you know, with the body and the emotions as well into balance before doing this kind of a work, you know. So you start opening up to deep levels of creativity. This is obviously going to bring us more abundance, more happiness, because you're increasing your energy dramatically, as well as removing energy drains and leaks. So it's so important when we're amplifying sexual energy to be removing the energy drains and the leaks. This is what usually people in Tantra don't really teach people in any effective way how to do. And that is why there is huge amounts of issues going on in Tantra today, or Neo-Tantra, I should say. So as the energy floods up into your brain, your consciousness activates. This is much more than shallow spiritual or sexual experience, because actually most people going on about how spiritual they are, how much ayahuasca they've taken, how much, you know, they've not felt any anger for like 15 years and all of this. This is often like an egoic kind of like, not a true spirituality, because a true spirituality is grounded in the real world. And we're also able to feel angry. We're able to feel emotions. And actually, we don't need to constantly be getting stimulated in order to feel things or think that we're feeling spiritual, because this exists within us already. The DMT is existing within our body. We don't actually need to go and chase it in external sources. So this stuff, it really has the ability to take us to all kinds of like incredible layers if we actually start using it and tapping into it. And it's not maybe like, you know, the easiest thing to do, but it's there. So let's look, why aren't most people getting this? Good question, because everybody loves sex. Everybody wants to have sex. Everybody's into sex. A lot of people are self-pleasuring a lot of the time, but why are people not getting these benefits from it? Okay, most people are not getting benefits. And I'm just going to say, people retaining their semen, repressing their sexual energy, they are also not getting the benefits very often. Okay, so let's look at the 2 types of orgasm. And this is really, really important to know. So if you heard of long tantric nights of endless lovemaking and multiple orgasms, and you wondered like how, okay, that is probably because you have accepted the Western sexual norm of tension release orgasms as an orgasm. Tension orgasms, the type of orgasm that is popular in Hollywood and porn that most people chase, are an orgasm that occurs in the very external and lower genitals, pushing your orgasmic energy out. I mean, this guy I follow on Facebook called Antonio De Souza, who talks some really interesting stuff about porn addiction, and he helps guys with like porn addiction. And basically he talks about guys masturbating inside women, you know, instead of making love, women can easily masturbate onto men as well. The point being that there is a big difference between tensing into this release of tension or having the expansive orgasm that's what we're talking about here, that we can actually use in this way to benefit our body. So these are basically clitoral orgasms and ejaculation. And of course, most sex coaches are, oh, the clitoral orgasm, yeah, you should have clitoral orgasm. Hey, guys don't know where clitorises are. This is all the problem with why women aren't having good sex. You know, they don't actually understand clitoral orgasms will usually stop a woman having internal full body orgasms, just like ejaculation will normally stop a guy from having internal full body orgasms as well. So they're activated. So the clitoral and ejaculation is activated by the pudendal nerve and tension, which means that they get orgasmic energy out of your body. They push it out of your body. And that is why you only usually get one. So relaxation orgasms are when the waves of energy travel up your body and into your meridians and cells. And this is what tantric sex is all about. And sometimes it's just like a vibration in the body. And we can learn to just activate that vibration with our mind and with our breathing as well. And it's almost like the more we refine these kind of practices, the more we can feel it just with less. So moving on, imagine being able to draw the orgasm into your body and feel it vibrating into every cell in your being, healing, nourishing you, and activating your DNA, all that inherited wisdom and knowledge to give you access to huge resources of creativity. This is what ancient people who lived within their bodies in nature, breathing slowly and connected with their bodies, be it the Taoists, Tantrists, Egyptians, or any number of indigenous ancient cultures knew. So when Tantra is going on about sex, they are not talking about the sex that most people have. And I think most people who are into Tantra, they don't get that. So orgasmic energy is the deepest magic you can access if you learn to sit with it, no longer controlled by it, but in mastery, running the energy through your body and consciousness, doing its magic in creating the life of your dreams instead of draining you. Because sexual energy is actually just a drain for so many people, just literally for one reason, because they're not managing it properly. But of course, it's nobody's fault, because who's actually teaching people how to do this? So what are relaxation orgasms? Relaxation orgasms are all about slow, and it's all about consciousness of the way that you breathe and mastery of your prana. But slow and mastery when it comes to sexual energy can be easier said than done. And I do find the more we cultivate this relationship where we go slow and we master it, the more we can enjoy our sexual energy. But it is about, you know, I think it's almost about becoming, you know, some people talk about a guy being a god or a king or whatever. And it is like we ascend to this status when we start taking the mastery over our sexual energy. That's almost like brings us above, you know, the kind of average way that people are dealing with life, you know, and many billionaires and very successful people do this. I mean, interestingly enough, some do it wrong, like Steve Jobs, for example, I think, who was practicing semen retention and he died of cancer, which is a sign he was not doing the practice properly. And I think the same, there's a few other people anyways who were doing it and died of cancer, and you should not get cancer if you're doing the practice properly. But if you're doing it improperly, you can be amplifying blockages and then causing health problems in your body. So it's really important, because this amplifies everything, but we don't want to amplify, you know, things that are not so fantastic for us. So most people have a lack of connection and knowledge of the nature of their sexual energy and spend most of their time repressing it rather than getting to know it. Repressed emotions make sexual energy volatile, and combined with the lack of mastery of sexual energy, most people end up being pulled into sexual experiences without awareness and consciousness. Sexual energy has been in the shadow for so long in our culture, meaning that we have lost mastery of it. This is about going within to recultivate the natural and deep relationship with your sexuality that allows you to use it as a force for healing, creativity, and activating your consciousness. And I know, I realized when I finished this, I haven't mentioned love very much, okay? But love is the key to this, and love is central to this, like self-love, number one. This is a real act of self-love, and it's the greatest way to grow self-love in our body. In fact, one of my clients who's been doing all this spiritual stuff, he's a spiritual mentor, he's been doing it for like, you know, over a decade. And he was like, one exercise I teach about using sexual energy to grow love, he was just like, man, I've done self-love for over a decade and I never felt anything like this before. Because when we go and work with the energy, it just is so powerful. Now, I wanted to mention this, and I know it's controversial, sexuality and demons, right? There's one side saying, oh, sexuality is demonic. It's going to, you know, cause, you know, people to become pedophiles and rapists and all of this. I think that's not just the perhaps religious extremism, it's also feminism, I think, does that as well, the modern form of feminism. And I think there's other groups we can put in there. I think that even I might put woke and sex positive into that category as well. Then you got the other lot who are like, oh, sex is just good, everything about it is great, just do it with everybody, don't think about it, you know. Maybe some are kind of doing both, you know, at the same time as well. Maybe woke is doing like a little bit of both, and it's kind of like teetering on either edge without finding this kind of like balance place in the middle. So this is something that few people want to talk about, or if they do, they get it completely wrong. Okay, so sexuality is not demonic in and of itself. Actually, what Master Chia says is it's a neutral force. However, it is an amplifier that will shine a light on your shadows, and this can be scary, you know. And for we women, and I just mentioned feminism, and people might be like, you know, not understand what I mean, but there's so many, like, such a force by women now that, you know, I see it as like a little connected to this modern American sort of woke thing that, you know, a man looked at you, oh, he must be about to rape you, you know, any man doing whatever is an abuser and so on. And it's like, it's killing the natural joy and the fun that like men and women can have together. And it's also making men really scared, which is actually meaning we get less fun, you know, which I don't like that too much. So that's what I'm meaning there basically by that, you know. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, let's be so sex positive. We're going to have sex with like 100 people this year. And then like, it's like you're just going from house to house blowing your nose, basically. Like, what does it mean anymore by the end of that, you know? Anyways, getting back to the press and scaremongering. So the press is full of stories about how sexuality is a demonic force, causes pedophilia and abuse if it's not controlled. Yes, this is true. And I actually think we need to acknowledge that there can be a side to sex, and it's not just extreme cases of rape and pedophilia, but I think every one of us does have a kind of darkness inside, right? I'm not saying the darkness is bad, but we can also have this darkness activated by the sexual energy. And when we're not in our consciousness, I think if every single person here is completely honest, right? There's all been occasions in our life where we have maybe sexually mistreated other people in some kind of a way. And these might be things that are normalized, you know, maybe rough sex without really checking with the person. Are they into it? Is this okay? Are we going at the right place with you? Or casual sex that can be really hurting to people, not communicating around sexuality, not communicating around our feelings as well. These are really all very, very important parts of about having a conscious relationship with ourselves and a conscious relationship with the people that maybe are beloved, so that we can actually experience this. Because I think that when we're approaching sexuality from a way that's maybe like less than ethical, you know, but I'd include in that, we need to understand like what are people's basic drives and instincts, because we can't also pretend to be robots. We're not robots, you know. But it's very important to be approaching this from an aligned way, and not just jumping on whatever bandwagon that people are putting across as, oh, this is fine, this is cool, this is okay. Because, you know, even people, you know, I'll give an example that I had a woman approach me. She says, well, I'm trying to like get in a relationship with my sexuality. I'm like, oh, cool. What have you done? She says, well, I kind of went and slept with 20 guys. And I'm like, okay, did you want to do that? And she's like, not really. I didn't really enjoy it. And I said, well, why did you do it? You know, because, well, I thought that was what I had to do, you know. And I'm not joking about this either. And I've heard similar things from other people. And when we just go and like have sex with people and we're not into it, we're not fully into it, our body is not into this, men as well as women. So many men might be in bed with a woman and they feel, oh my God, I have to have sex with her, or she's going to think badly of me, or it can be the other way around. These things are not doing our bodies and soul good. They're not doing the physical body good, and they're not doing the soul good when we're not aligning it as well. And this is all stuff, it takes time, it takes awareness, it takes consciousness, it takes cultivating a good relationship with our emotions in order to do this. So truth is that controlling and repressing does not work. It absolutely does not work either. The answer is to create a healthy relationship with our sexual energy, and you've got to add to that emotions, because if it's not the healthy relationship with the emotions, we're not going to have a healthy relationship with the sexual energy. And by the way, this is ego busting. To have a real relationship with the sexual energy is ego busting. Because when we look at porn style, rushed and fast sex without foreplay, rushing to bust a nut, we are in ego. To surrender to the healing and consciousness expanding power of sexual energy, that is what is capable of, well, that is what will bring our true self to basically get itself to shine. So I want to just pause here for a sec and just check. How are we doing, guys? Do we get any questions? Nice to see a few more people jumping in. People I know, people I don't.
I've had both of the type of orgasms that you've discussed and it's really interesting to hear you say it, because one would make me tired, the other one would make me energetic, and I would want to get up and do things. And there was such a remarkable difference in the two. But it's kind of interesting to realize, like, it just stopped at some point. So I don't know what I lost with that, but I think it's breathing probably, but more than anything.
Yeah, the breathing is key. The relationship with self is key. In Tantra, they talk about the prana, which means like chi, like energy, but it also means breath.
Mm-hmm.
So the breathing is really important. And I want to actually take you guys all into the breathing exercise that I can use to basically activate orgasmic energy within my body. And, anybody can learn to do it, but I'm just going to say with this stuff, it's all about putting in work, and spending the time and working with the energy, because otherwise it's, for obvious reasons, it's not generally a quick fix, is what I'm trying to explain. So, yeah, thank you for sharing. So, okay, why are people not feeling satisfied? I think it's a really important question as well, because why is it age? Just mute yourself, please, if you're not speaking. So why is it that in an age that refers to itself as sex positive, people are less sexually satisfied than ever? Sex seems more available, yet research shows that women are having less orgasms, men are having less sex, to the extent that some men have committed acts of terror over the situation. I think there's been around 50 deaths caused by incel-related terrorism, which is just absolutely crazy, plus all the other amount of harm caused by it is just uncountable, What has happened is that instead of sex being treated more positively, it has been relegated to an easily accessible mechanical transaction akin to blowing your nose. Sexual dysfunctions are on the rise. Women are not getting wetter or better orgasms, and men are suffering ED and PE or orgasmic issues in their 20s and 30s, which is totally unnatural. Even in the 40s. Please mute yourself. Everybody, sorry. Oh, please keep yourself muted. Not everybody wants to hear, and it messes up the recording as well. Thank you. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I've even seen sort of sex coaches or sex educators using like a bottle of lube to kind of advertise, you know, I don't know, being more sexual or whatever. It's almost as if, you know, female sexual dysfunction is being somehow like celebrated. Like if you put, you know, a pack of Viagra or something to show, you know, sex positivity or sex education, I think is completely missing the point, because sex education should be helping us naturally get more wet and horny, and men getting stronger erections, which is absolutely possible when we work with the energy. So in truth, most people are only experiencing a tiny percentage of what they're capable of by following the porn-based sex positive ideology. So it's just whacking in and out, backwards and forwards, and coming and being like, oh, wow, that was amazing. And I think as well, one thing they say as well is that, you know, a guy might be like, oh, wow, that was amazing. And the woman was just rolling her eyes going, oh my God, that was so boring. You know, maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but I think it's true that as women, we're much more sexually intricate. And I think that there's a natural thing that draws men to want to explore the sexual intricacies of the woman, but it's something that we are being programmed against doing, that kind of we need to tune back into. And I think a lot of it is to do with like understanding like the sacredness of our bodies and our sexuality. So if you really want to understand about sexuality, you should have a brief understanding of certain aspects of your physiology that we aren't taught about in sex education. Psychology too, but the physiology is super important. Okay, nobody's talking about this hardly, but this is about your autonomic nervous system and vagus nerve, which regulate your involuntary functions, including your sexuality. And this is where the issues lie. The ANS is a function that we inherited from our ancestors that is designed to keep us safe in times of danger. So when we're in danger, the body goes into flight or fight. All the energy is transferred into the lungs and the heart, so we can run away really fast. But most people are spending much too long under the influence of adrenaline, which is playing havoc with the whole body, including digestion, kidneys, liver, and then also the sexual function as well. So our lives have changed a lot over the millennia, but the ANS has not changed. A state of stress causes chaos to our external sexual functioning, And when you enter arousal out of stress, that's supposed to say instead of pleasure, it just throws everything off. So let's look at this really, really important thing, breathing. And I even would like, if you guys are interested, to show you like a little bit about how the breathing works, because it's so fascinating what we can do with our breath in the body. And it's not actually these kind of fast breathing methods. Okay, I think Wim Hof is good, but a lot of like Eastern breathing methods people are doing is actually not that great for us, because we need to eliminate the tension in our body first. So your breath is life. And when we look at Tantra, you can see the concept of chi, breath, and prana are intertwined. Mastering your breath is essential for all aspects of life, and you can use your breathing to regulate your ANS and to access your sexual energy. In fact, breathing practice should be daily, breathing awareness constant, and this will assist you in all aspects of your life. Without the right breathing practice, you will not get into the flow with your sexual energy or be able to traverse your consciousness with it. Kundalini is the process of alchemization of sexual energy that happens with deep state relaxation, arousal, and multiple full body orgasms. Breathing is the gateway to open up your energy system and to enter into a deep consciousness, expanding experience with your body, energy, and soul. I just wanted to share this. Someone just sent it to me, and just talking about what I do. And I think like he just put it in a nutshell so well. It's so valuable to have the theoretical foundations, but it's not just theoretical. It's like the energetic work as a foundation. In present tantric communities, there's so much focus on having intense, pleasurable experiences, which is not what Tantra is about anyways. And without having the mechanisms to make proper place for them in your existence. I think the practice of Neo-Tantra can actually cause people a lot of problems in many, many different ways of life. It's something I'm a little wary about, to be honest. So, okay, Well, I wanted to just explain a little bit about emotions. I don't want to go too much into it today. If you want to know more about emotions, please do let me know. Send me a message on WhatsApp. I'm going to send you a resource all explaining about emotions. I don't want to go into that a lot today, but essentially, energy blocks are generally emotions. These are not bad or negative emotions. These are repressed and unprocessed emotions, and they cause sexual problems like vaginal dryness, lack of sensitivity, ED, PE, and these cause long-term results, which actually can affect our health and our whole experience in life really, really negatively, and is essential before doing any kind of work with sexual energy to actually do inner alchemy work to work on the emotions. Okay, let's have a quick we just saw that. Okay, let's have a quick look at this. Okay, so this is, oh, sorry. This is why, imagine we have this sexual energy here. We want to bring it up through these energy centers here, but we've got here shame, resentment, guilt, mistrust, fear of love, self-hate, distrust, disconnect. All of these emotions are blocking us. So basically, how is the sexual energy going to move? Okay, number one. Number two, it then goes to live inside of your sexual organs. Screenshot this if you don't have it. If you don't mind screenshotting this, please, and sharing it into your Instagram story and tagging us if you enjoy this today. And I will give you the masterclass about abundance, which normally people pay £72 for, which is almost $100 if I see that you've tagged us on Instagram at The Art of the Bedchamber, please, and just share if you enjoyed this masterclass. Okay, thank you guys. So, okay, accessing your sexual energy. And this is the enlightenment secret of Tantra and the sexual secrets of Taoist immortality. Our sexual energy is there, but we don't actually tap into it by chasing it or by getting taken over by stimulation from the external. It's really an inside job. So this is why most sex coaches get it totally wrong and can't provide long-term solutions, I would say, that are reliable and repeatable. And they're just looking at it from the outside instead of going in. So a lot of people will go to sex coaches and then feel like they're kind of inextricably broken, whereas in reality, it's just that the person maybe has like more of a shallow understanding, like maybe they went into it already feeling very in touch with their sexuality, so they don't understand for people who are maybe having more blockages, what is actually their needs as well. So, and then I think also they just treat it like a superfluous thing, like I said, like the box of chocolates or the glass of brandy, instead of understanding this is so central to our being. So Tantra considered this to be a sacred journey, and I find that approaching it as such is pretty important. No one needs to be perfect, but trying to do Tantra without self-awareness, refining your vessel, and preparing for the energy is dangerous. This is a high-level practice that requires discipline and a good mindset. And just to add to that about mindset is I work with people that are like serious entrepreneurs, but they never did any meditation, spirituality, Tantra, or anything. Those are some of my most successful clients because they just go in with like a great mindset, follow my instructions, implement everything, and then basically like go in there and get the results. So back to physiology then. I mentioned the vagus nerve and ANS because these are actually essential parts of this. Yep, this isn't just woo-woo. There is a science to it. There are many people out there talking about how orgasms are draining, how they're bad for you, and this applies to certain types of orgasm. So there are actually two main nerves involved in the different types of orgasm. If you don't know about this, please drop us a 3 in the chat. I have a whole like hour-and-a-half long masterclass just explaining about the nerves involved in orgasm. It's like super fascinating stuff. And put a 3 in the chat and we will get you this masterclass if you want it, if you want to know more. Okay, so the most common is the pudendal nerve. Okay, so at the bottom of the pelvis, and this is responsible for ejaculation and clitoral orgasms. It's activated by tension. Energy moves through a relaxed body. When you have tension inside of your body, you are not going to be getting full body internal orgasms. Okay, this is like the number one mistake everyone's doing, is focus on ejaculation and clitoral orgasms. But obviously, if that's all you know, it's not easy to open up and change the habit of a lifetime. So internal and full body orgasms are activated by relaxation. And this is how the body can open to allow the energy up your body and into your consciousness. So sexuality and self-awareness. A client of mine said to me, I'm sure that by the time most people get to speaking to you, meaning me, they are aware that their sexual energy is wasted by just spaffing it out, and is the most powerful medium for consciousness expansion. I love the way she put it. It was really spot on. You know, she has done numerous plant medicine journeys, but experienced sexual energy is the ultimate catalyst of her consciousness. So most people are living in the depths of ignorance when it comes to sexuality. I'm going to add to that energy, consciousness, health, creativity, abundance, manifestation, you name it. Most people are just so low because we are not low as people, but low in awareness, because we are just brainwashed in ways from a very young age in school that's designed to keep us safe. And the whole idea is we're going to stay safe by staying small. And that's what we're brainwashed to do. So, you know, people don't develop sophistication with anything. And then they have their little, you know, their little dopamine hits, which might be some kind of sex or, you know, different highs like drinking or smoking weed or whatever, you know, and it's actually not expanding consciousness really. It's keeping their sophistication very, very low, and it's stopping them from achieving their desires and dreams. And maybe many people just kind of give up on them before they even start, because they're not connected to their sexual power, which is the most powerful thing inside of their bodies. It is crazy because this is actually basic knowledge that I am sharing with you here. You know, I know a lot of people, most people will hear this and it will blow their mind, but this is just basic stuff. And people here who are my clients and students will know this is actually showing it from a new way. I hope this is helpful for you, but it's also very basic. So sexual energy is a superfood for body and soul. I think I said this twice, yeah, but it's so true. So I just thought I would repeat it again. So what can sexual energy actually do? So sexual energy is source creative energy, and as such, it has the power to heal the body at a cellular level. And in some way, I don't like to use the word spiritual. I think it's a very misused word, but at the same time, when you actually get to understand this and experience it, it's like you start to, for me, that was when I was like, man, whether it was a God or nature or Mother Nature or whoever created us, goddess, you know, this proves to me that we are divine beings, that we really are divine beings. The way that everything to do with the sexuality, that emotions, the energy works in the body, it is all absolutely perfect. So sexual energy is source creative energy, and as such, it has the power to heal the body at a cellular level. So when we learn to bring the energy up and combine it with love in the heart, we can just set off this vibration in the body that actually starts to reprogram the cells. And when I first started getting into this, I was going through this thing that probably in most countries we're encouraged to have a test done on the cervix to test for abnormal cells, and the doctor was saying I had abnormal cells. They were wanting to do something to my cervix, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get this done. And basically, I didn't do it, and I went off and I started using this stuff, and I started healing myself, and I missed my appointment, and they were getting annoyed at me. And then I went back, and it was like they were almost more annoyed when they found out I didn't have the problem anymore. You know, for me, it seemed I had healed myself. Because I guess doctors have a certain like control over our bodies, and sometimes like taking back the control of the bodies is just such an amazing liberating thing that we can do. So this doesn't just heal injuries and reverse the aging process, but it can actually cure chronic disease as well. Once the body is optimized, sexual energy starts to bring about a big increase in drive, creativity, and connection to purpose. This is why my clients rapidly report increases in financial abundance, as well as career, when they start to remove energy drains and channel sexual energy. So I just mean the career, like maybe going down a more solar line path as well. So from here, it then starts to rise into your brain and activate your consciousness. And this is a whole journey in and of itself. And it's kind of what I want to touch on, but I feel like this is all a really important introduction. So we go through the first stage where the sexual energy moves up through these 3 energy centers. So screenshot that if you want. You can stick it on your story if you want to, if you're enjoying this event. So let's get on. Okay, so the energy centers, this is really important to understand, that the basics of understanding the Taoist science of sexual transmutation is knowing about the 3 dantians, the 3 energy centers, because we want to send this energy through these 3 dantians, these 3 energy centers. And the practice involves building up energy slowly in the centers. Most of it is involving using your mind to channel and move the energy, like in some kind of like old-fashioned like magician movie or something like that. So the practices involve building up energy slowly in the centers. In fact, working with the lower energy center is the basis for any kind of sexual energy work, and it's better not to do it if you don't have a strong practice. The lower energy center transforms basic energy, which is Jing, into Qi, which is vitality, boosts immunity, and it increases energy levels. From here, the Qi moves up into the heart and transforms into Shen energy, which is like love, abundance, and creativity. And this is what I mean, like the self-love and the open heart is so important, because we're not going to get far with the practice if the heart is shut. And many, many men in particular have a block just below their heart, which is a block of love, a fear of love. And basically, some will start having full body orgasms, and these will be like partial orgasms, which start coming up and moving up, but they're actually like causing blockages to intensify. It might cause like a lot of jerking in your body or something. So it's really important to be aware that we can start activating multiple orgasms, but it's not necessarily doing the whole thing. So finally, in the Crystal Palace, the energy transforms into enlightenment and consciousness energy. This activates the pineal gland as well as the pituitary, or the third eye. And of course, the Taoists knew about the pineal gland thousands of years ago. And in fact, when you start to work with the energy in your brain, you're always bringing it back down into your belly, but it actually opens up these like tiny, minute little gaps in the space between your skull, which actually allows like a bit of light to come in into your pineal gland. And I think that's actually kind of what enlightenment is in a way. Okay, so basically we can use orgasmic energy to just upgrade our whole body. It's the most powerful life force that you have. It is also a highly volatile energy like petrol, hence the warning that I gave at the beginning. The Taoist system is the most intricate and effective way to work with this energy. Before working with this energy, you need to practice and work with less volatile forms of energy, which is clearing out your emotional field, as I mentioned earlier. You need to learn to cultivate, move, transform, transmute, refine, and store energy. Anyone can do it if they follow the step-by-step process and basically want to do it. This process is also important because you need to clean out the blockages inside your body so the sexual energy can flow. Sexual energy is an amplifier, and it's going to amplify everything that's there. So that's why you need to just at least move a good part of your blockages first. And then when we start using sexual energy towards sexual healing, the most basic level is feeding the energy of love. So I go a little bit into love, because basically sexual energy rises up into our heart when we've unblocked the body, and it starts growing love in the heart, which is like the most basic frequency. And it's like such an important frequency that, number one, we're building that love, we're building that self-love within our body as well. And then as the sexual energy, which is blue, feminine energy, combines with the red, masculine, loving energy in the heart, it turns purple. And this actually starts vibrating through the cells and sort of vibrating with the frequency of the violet light of the universe. And then it starts healing the body at the cellular level. So this is like a really amazing, just like first step. And then the second step, actually, as it goes deeper, it starts to amplify our traumas and our pain, which can be a really like awkward place that people get stuck if they don't know how to deal with and process them. So this is why it's really important to actually have a practice working with the energy and the emotions within our body, and also practicing sexual reflexology. Once we've worked a certain amount with the body, we can start releasing from the sexual organs as well, and basically start to actually just get just our body just clearer and clearer and clearer. So this works really great when we're in like a truly intimate relationship where people are able to like share about their emotions and share about their experiences together. But obviously when people get together sexually and they're not, they're emotionally shut down, it's going to start bringing up a lot of emotions that can get scary. And I think this is why you actually have a lot of, there's a lot of like unconscious relating, where I think people kind of start having sex with someone and then freak out and just kind of run away because they can't deal with their emotions. So it's really important to have like emotional intimacy and to just develop and learn the ability to understand our emotions and talk about them and get comfortable with this as well. So now looking into the more like nerdy side of Tao practice, there's an element to it where you're recycling your unused hormones. If you're a guy, you can actually gently start massaging your balls as a regular practice. As women, it's great to just massage our breasts as well. This even is a very, very simple exercise to start to basically like unblock the hormones and the body just in general, I suppose. It's really great for balancing out the sexual energy. And when you start to learn this, to do this to a more developed and advanced way, we can actually start sending that energy into our organs and particularly into our glands, which is really, really beneficial as well. And then when we start looking into orgasmic healing, in Tao practice, we move sexual energy from the sexual organs like the ovaries and testicles, and then also the orgasmic energy through the rest of the body. So we start off moving hormones, then we move aroused sexual energy, then we're taking orgasmic energy. And this is basically the key to opening your system so you can start having like regular full body orgasms and really get the benefit, because you're then moving it into your internal organs and you're moving it back to store in your belly, dantian. And this is like a really, really upgraded version of ourselves once we learn to do it. And then even cooler is that like when we get a partner, we can actually pair together, as you saw in the pictures at the beginning, and you can start to cultivate this same energy together. And there's different positions you can do it in. There's also just different ways we can actually even heal specific organs and imbalances. So once you've got your energy so upgraded, you'll just look at kind of like the rubbing of genitals for pleasure it's unsatisfying, and it's like a little bit infantile. It becomes a little bit infantile, and you can maybe like look back at the way you had sex before and it's almost a bit cringy, because when you harness sexual energy, you begin to make love in a really conscious act of healing and activating energy. And sharing this with another person takes your energy cultivation to a new level. Your bodies both become alchemical chambers, and you can use lovemaking to heal, manifest, create, and grow energy. And it really allows you to just amplify this, just almost without limit, I suppose, and this is about having alchemy, not chemistry, which is often very like trauma bonding type, but alchemy is like the arousal and the pleasure where we're consciously building together using sexual energy and just increasing the energy within our bodies, like, and with the partnership, just more and more and more. So, okay, I can see all these messages. Oh my God, all these people want this. Guys, you know what? Like, if you're not already in touch with me, the easiest way for me to send this over, it's going to be on WhatsApp. Okay, so how do I do this? Okay, please. Okay. I'm just sticking my WhatsApp in there. If you want any resources, message me there. And hopefully my assistant has put, if you want to have a talk with me about learning this, hopefully he's put in there the details of how to book a free consultation with me. So okay, I'm just curious, guys. So what came up for you? Is there anyone who has like anything to say about this or wants to add anything? I'm curious if there's people already doing these practices who want to share at all. Or any questions coming up? It'd be really cool if some people who've reached a certain level with this want to share about like their experience as well.
I do.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
I think in parts because I kind of put together my own study for the last, 2 decades, that I didn't really go about it with a focus, just, hey, let's study everything that's out there. I've seen parts of so much of what you talked about, but not put it together. You know what I mean? Just it's kind of just piecemeal. Yeah, and it's interesting hearing it, with an actual, link where everything's tied together. It's definitely fascinating to hear that there are more involved reasons, more involved, responses for things that, everything from, having blockages, under the heart to, I've dealt with ED my entire life. And it's been, tough to have. I haven't had really any relationships with anybody for any significant amount of time at all. But to hear it all kind of come together is definitely, it's definitely nice to hear.
Yeah, and I mean ED in men, and I would say like vaginal dryness in women, which as we know, like is really, really common. This is all related to block around the heart, energy block around the heart. And it's really sad. There's guys, even like teenagers and people in their 20s and 30s that are having this kind of problem when there's no physical cause for it apart from emotional cause, a lot of
And I
people
was a
are
teenager.
and is affecting their self-esteem and confidence and affecting their ability to feel good in life, when most of the time it's just really unnecessary for them to be suffering in this way. So thank
I
you
mean,
for
yeah,
sharing, like really honestly.
right. And I mean,
That
yesterday was my 50th birthday, so I mean, I found a doctor to work with me and put me on medications, but that's not always effective. And I realized that it's, it's something that's kind of a band-aid for what's really happening. Not an actual fix. It's not a cure, it's a treatment. So it's better, but quite honestly, at this point in my life, when you don't have relationships, you don't have these emotional developments, in your life, it's a lot. It definitely creates a lot of difficulties and things. So
Yeah, and in terms of like, medication for ED, a lot of it won't work because it doesn't address psychological issues, and antidepressants may address the psychological issues, but they're going to make the ED worse. But basically they will just lead it onto a downward spiral where it just gets worse and worse. It's like covering up the issue rather than actually addressing the issue. So yeah. I mean, obviously
luckily,
doctors meds
yeah,
and their drugs, don't they? So yeah.
I keep that in mind whenever it's like, okay, let's not just take it. Let's develop what is the intent.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be, a way out of it, but that is definitely something to deal with. And I realize that there's a lot of other things going on. I don't think it was ever a health issue. Well, I think it was a health issue, but it was there were so many things that can cause it. You never know what combination, and that's the difficulty of dealing with that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, does anyone else want to share, or shall we look at like how we can maybe do some breathing exercise and start you know, experimenting with this a little bit? Anybody want to share anything, or?
let's breathe.
Let's breathe, guys. Okay, so I want to encourage everybody to just get a little bit cozy. Okay, I'm not actually putting my legs up because I'm lazy. I'm just wanting to join in. So if you want to lie down, lie back, lie down. I'm not going to go completely down because then you won't hear me. And I want you to just bring your attention into your body, and let's start to have a bit of awareness of our anatomy. So we have the lungs here. And we have the ribs and the rib cage, and in between the ribs and the rib cage, we have the intercostal muscles. And then if we come down to the bottom of the rib cage, we can push in a little bit, and we can feel there, if we push in and up, is the thoracic diaphragm. And this is actually the main breathing muscle, not the intercostal muscles. So when we're breathing in flight or fight, we're using the muscles up here. When we're breathing in relax and enjoy, we're down here. So try to breathe so you're feeling the thoracic diaphragm moving down and out. And you're feeling your belly rising. And then you're feeling it's coming back in. So you're feeling the thoracic diaphragm moving down and out. And then coming back in and up as you exhale. And you want to be getting a nice feeling of relaxation in your thoracic area as you do this. And hopefully even feeling a nice relaxed feeling in your body. Okay. So you should feel a little bit of loosening up at the bottom of your rib cage. And what you're feeling is hopefully this diaphragm is activating. Now, if you have a really really stuck diaphragm. And let's not forget, people hold a lot of traumas in their diaphragm, especially the fear of love. If it's very stuck there. Sometimes it takes more work to completely activate this diaphragm. And then let's bring the attention down to the pelvic floor, which is right at the bottom of your body by your labia or your testicles. And you're now feeling that you're breathing in. The pelvic floor is coming down and out with the thoracic diaphragm. And you're exhaling. And they're both coming in. And we're moving out and in. And as you're feeling these two diaphragms moving together, start to try to tune into an opening in your body. A synchronization, which is bringing about a deep state of relaxation. See if you can notice any vibration in your body, any feelings of relaxation or warmth, or anything else. And now you're bringing your attention down to your urinary diaphragm, which is at the bottom of your bladder, just an inch or two above the other one. And as you're breathing in and out, you are now feeling these moving together. So now you're feeling these three diaphragms moving down as they expand out and up as you exhale. Inhale, they're moving down, exhale. And you're feeling your body is relaxing deeper and deeper. You may be noticing some fine feelings of vibration. And I invite you to smile into your pelvis, sending relaxation into your pelvis. Giving permission for tension and stagnation in your pelvis to release and to open. Feeling your lower body relaxing. Maybe you're noticing tiredness, going into a bit of a trance, which is all cool as well. Don't worry if you fall asleep, it's fine as well. And now you're bringing your attention up to the bottom of your throat. And you're noticing there's another diaphragm there. And as you're breathing in and the lower diaphragms are moving down and out, this one is moving out and up. So now feeling these four diaphragms of your body synchronizing and moving up and down together. See if you can notice your body relaxing, any feelings of fine vibrations in your body. And now there's a fifth diaphragm at the bottom of your skull and the top of your neck. And now as you're breathing in, the throat and this diaphragm at the bottom of your cranium is moving up and out as the other three move out and down. And now we're feeling all five of these diaphragms moving together, synchronizing together. And now we're moving up to the top of the skull and to the cranial fascia, which is actually a sixth diaphragm. And as we breathe in and the two diaphragms by the neck move up and out, so does this one. The other three moving down and out, and then exhaling as all six diaphragms contract. Breathing in and out as all six are starting to work together. Visualizing the seven diaphragms moving in and out together. And now coming to the seventh diaphragm, sorry, which is the plantar fascia, on the bottom of the foot. So you can breathe in and feel the thoracic, urinary, and pelvic floor moving down with the plantar fascia at the bottom of your foot. As the other three move up and out, and then feeling all seven contracting together as you exhale. And now come back smiling to your pelvis, because in a way, this is all where it starts. So we're smiling and sending loving energy into our pelvis. Sending permission for your pelvis to relax and expand and open. Becoming aware of any contractions in your body. Giving permission for these to release. You can smile through your sacrum, belly, thorax, and chest. Feeling your whole body opening and seeing if you notice any feelings of fine vibration in your body. Now you can move your attention up into your brain, and you can start to smile into the center of your brain and into your third eye. And as the ancient people knew, this is from where we can start to connect with our consciousness. And just connecting with our consciousness in and of itself is an incredibly powerful thing to do. But when we can start to bring this energy into the body, the sexual energy, and amplify it, what it allows us to do is amplify the access to our consciousness, which is almost like sacred energy that we are born with, which includes the coding for our destiny and our purpose and our fulfillment. And see if you can feel into the connection between sexual energy, between heart, and between third eye. Notice what's happening in your body, feelings of tension or relaxation. And notice what it feels like to be in your body, connected with your breath, and really feeling. And I know this feels really spacey, so if you want to just stay where you are, that's really fine. But if you want to ask me any questions or give any observations, I invite you to just wiggle your fingers and toes a bit. Sit up and come into the room, back into the room, if you want to. No pressure if you don't.
So I'm still feeling like I'm struggling knowing when I'm ready to advance in the course material. I mean, I enjoyed this meditation session. It seems like what I get out of it is calmness, and I'm not complaining about that, but there's a part of me that thinks there's more, you know, and I know I've mentioned this to you in multiple meetings, but I want to get past the struggle of knowing when to advance. I don't want to advance just for the sake of advancing. I want to get this down.
Okay, so let's go over this on the meeting on Thursday, because I'm really going to be able to give you some time and attention on
Okay. Well, if I have time on Thursday, I will. I am going to be in Alaska attending my niece's wedding, so I can't promise I will be there this Thursday, but I will do my best.
No worries if you're busy. We'll just do it when you're back in your own time. Okay, I totally understand. So just enjoy what you're doing so far while you're there. And then when you get back, we can work on doing more. It's probably going to work better.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else want to ask anything? Especially if you maybe never did this before. Okay, no worries at all. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe I put you all to sleep, but feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And enjoy the rest of your evening or the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.